Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Consul General of Spain and Mrs. Martinez Salazar, Carmen, and myself, Consul for Culture, be welcome to this fundraising reception. We have known Ricardo Llorca for a long time. Apart from being a great artist whose credentials are very well established in America and in Europe, he's a dear friend of this house, a dear friend of mine, and a dear friend, I believe, of many of you. We delight ourselves too in his masterful, rich, and enticing work, and feel deeply honored today to host, to contribute with this event to the development of his next opera and the excellent work carried out by the New York Opera Society, led by Jennifer True, whose savoir-faire, enthusiasm, and experience have already seduced us all. Let me introduce today as well the president of the New York Opera Society, Leslie Sylvester, whom I had the pleasure to meet today, and who is responsible as well of the organization of this reception, this event, to raise funds for the opera of Ricardo. And just before letting Leslie address you a few words as well, let me introduce the musicians today. The musicians that are going to delight us as well with his music. Rosa Betancourt, soprano. Elizabeth Young, violin. Brooke Quiggins, Saulnier, violin. Maria Jeffers, cello. And then with us as well there is Alexis Soriano, conductor, who are going to play for us Je te veux de Eric Satie, La Diva de l'Empire de Satie as well, y La Vocalise de las Horas Vacías, the opera, the prior opera by Ricardo Llorca. Thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy.
Well, this is such a wonderful evening, such a lovely location, and on behalf of the New York Opera Society, I'd like to thank you all for coming and welcome you as we celebrate the new commission by Ricardo, which we're all very excited about. So thank you. I want to thank too in particular the Consul General and his wife Carmen. We're sorry you're unable to speak much tonight, but thank you so much for hosting us. And thank you to Juan, the consul in charge of cultural affairs, and the whole of the staff of the consul, because this is a very special location for us to have this celebration. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, I'm going to be very brief. Now, when I talk about, because my husband says I can't be brief about anything, but it's really quite hard to be brief about the New York Opera Society because it's such a multifaceted, dynamic, growing organization of which those of us that have become involved with it are very proud. I think the reason it's, or a major reason, the major reason in my opinion, it's as successful and dynamic as it is because of this wonderful dynamic leader we have in Jen Shows. So I think those of you that know anything about NYOS have seen its growth, and it's providing wonderful opportunities on a number of fronts. You know, in trying to capture very briefly the core or the heart of the New York Opera Society, I was thinking, I was reflecting back on the night I left there many years ago, neither of us, Jen, will say how many, okay, but many years ago, before the formal creation of the New York Opera Society, and Jen was full of passion when we met, and I asked her what the aspiration was, and she said, more than anything, I want to create opportunities. So world-class talent, so all these talented artists that she'd known, and she does have the most amazing Rolodex. All of these wonderful artists can have the opportunities they deserve. And that was a long while ago. But really the word opportunity still is the theme, it still is the heart, the kind of red thread that I believe runs through the work of the New York Opera Society. And as opportunities on a number of fronts, we provide not only opportunities for great artists and amazing people like Ricardo, but we also, I think, provide opportunities for the showcasing of ideas, of concepts that are really relevant to this somewhat perplexing world we live in. And what's particularly exciting too is we've been able to reach audiences. We've provided opportunities for people to participate, to hear opera, who typically would never have that opportunity. Very, very quickly, one of my favorite examples is when we performed, I'd say we loosely, I had nothing to do with it, when an opera, a children's opera, was performed in a Lower East Side school. I was there and I happened to walk in with the beginning and with the Crown Prince of Norway and his wife. And the excitement of these children was absolutely amazing as they saw this opera, I'm sure for most people for the first time. So how briefly we, to conclude, how briefly we provide these opportunities, the key strategy in enabling us to create these various opportunities is by commissioning and producing opera. We do other things, but that's the major key that unlocks the opportunities on all these fronts. So enough from me. I want to thank all of you that have supported New York Opera Society, that will support New York Opera Society. We're able to commission and produce these operas because of the wonderful partners we have, individuals, corporations, government, and this has been kind of the way in which the New York Opera Society has grown and has continued to provide new and different experiences. So on that note, Ricardo, I'm going to hand over to you. We're really excited to hear what comes next.
Okay, it will be brief, so don't worry. First of all, we have changed the program, the order. So we will begin with vocalists from my opera, and then we will end with Eric Satie. And then I would like to talk a little bit about our next project, which is an opera I'm going to compose based on Tres Sombreros de Copa, Three Top Hats. Three Top Hats is perhaps one of the most famous theater plays in Spain in the 20th century. It is one of the earliest examples we have of the theater of the absurd. In the 1920s, 30s and 40s. In Spain we have plenty of playwrights who followed that style, like Jardier Poncela, Miguel Miura, Tono, or we also have Ionesco in France. In any case, this is an amazing play that works very well, or will work very well as an opera, because it's a play about circus. And we wanted to do something after my last opera, which is very sad, as you know, the internet and this loneliness and a woman chatting in the computer. It's not funny. We decided, Jennifer gave me the idea of do something just the opposite, something funny. And actually I said, why don't we do Tres Sombreros de Copa? And finally we got the rights, so we have the rights. which is great. So luckily I'm going to be working on this for 2 years.
1 year.
1 year. 1.5. And the opera will be premiered in Brazil, in New York, and hopefully in Spain. And you are all invited. And then I also want to introduce you to Alexis, who is a great conductor. He's also an artistic director. And then he did my opera in St. Petersburg and in Sao Paulo 5 months ago. And he's a great conductor. So there you go. Thanks for coming, and I hope you enjoy the recital.
Just a few words, just to learn about everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I am conducting this. Of course, they are excellent musicians. They don't need me, but in this particular piece, moment of the opera, it's quite tricky. And if they don't have a conductor, it's a bit dangerous. So that's why I'm here to try to help.
I created my own world where I lived happily for hours on end. I imagined I was someone else, that I lived somewhere else, that I was embraced by people who probably would never embrace me. And I would go on like this for hours. They were my quiet hours, my happy hours, as my father used to call them. He never understood that I didn't want to play with the other children, and that I much preferred to find a quiet place away from everyone else. A bench at the far end of our garden, and there, all alone, and with no more company than a stray dog that sometimes came to the house, I would spend my quiet hours, my happiest hours. The name of that dog. I never knew his real name, but I called him Jumbo. He was a dog that walked with a limp, and nobody in town paid any attention to him. that dog would spend his days wandering alone on the beach. Sometimes, when he was tired, he would come to our garden seeking refuge. And then, after a few days of safety and protection, he would disappear again. Sometimes, I would find him wandering along the beach with a bunch of cats that some kids on the town had tied to his tail. Tell him 1,001 stories. Jumbo was the only audience I had for many years, until I met the Norwegian boy. I would take him up onto the bench with me. And I asked that poor dog to stay forever with me in that world that I myself had created just for the two of us. the truth left off and where the lies began. And so, filling my days talking to a dog, and my nights in the arms of imaginary strangers, I spent those endless summers of my youth. And I was happy in my own way. Se giudite su del fan